You know, some days in football are just all about those heart-stopping, down-to-the-wire finishes, right? Well, today isn't one of those days. Today's story is all about the predictable mismatches, the games where you kind of feel like you know the outcome before the whistle even blows. So how can we be so sure? Let's get into it.
So what is it, really? What lets an analyst look at a fixture list and just know? What are those key ingredients that make one game a total nail-biter and another one, well, a foregone conclusion? That's the big question we're going to unpack right now.
And you know what? The answer for today's games, anyway, really just boils down to one single powerful theme that we see again and again. It's that classic story, right? The giant versus the minnow. It's when you have this huge gap in money, in status, in pure skill, and that's what creates these mismatches we're talking about.
All right, so today's big theme is this whole giant versus minnow cycle. And look, this isn't some rare thing. It happens all the time, especially in domestic cups. That's where you get these wild matchups, teams from completely different worlds colliding, and yeah, the results, they tend to follow a pretty predictable script.
So, let's talk about the formula. How do you actually spot one of these mismatches in the wild? Well, it's not just a gut feeling, that's for sure. Analysts are looking for a very specific recipe, a mix of factors that all point in one direction. So let's break down what those ingredients are.
Okay, first up, and this is a big one, the professionalism gap. I mean, just look at the difference here. You've got your full-time pro in a higher tier, let's say tier 6, like Scunthorpe. These guys train every single day. Football is their job. Then you've got the semi-pro player from a lower tier, like tier 8. They train part-time because they have a whole other job to pay the bills. This isn't a small difference, folks. It's a massive gap in fitness and preparation, and it almost always shows up late in the game.
Next, we've got to talk about momentum. Seriously, think of it like a team's confidence level, its pulse. In this example, wow, it says it all. You've got Al-Ittihad, who are on fire, winning 6 matches in a row. They're playing Damak, who've only managed to scrape together 1 win in their last 13 games. I mean, come on, that's a huge psychological edge before a ball is even kicked.
Okay, enough theory, let's get to the proof. We're going to look at a few specific matches happening today that are just perfect examples of this giant versus minnow principle in action.
And first up, we've got a real classic, Scunthorpe versus Clitheroe. This is the textbook definition of what happens when two teams from different universes meet in a cup game.
And get this, analysts are 94% confident in a home win here. 94%. In football, a game famous for being unpredictable, that number is just huge. So the question is obvious, right? Why so certain?
Well, here's why. This breaks it down perfectly. Scunthorpe, Tier 6 full-time pros. Clitheroe, Tier 8 part-time semi-pros. Now that 2-tier gap is a big deal for skill, for sure. But the real killer here? It's fitness. The prediction is that Clitheroe is simply going to run out of steam in those last 20 minutes, and that's exactly when Scunthorpe's full-time conditioning is designed to kick in and dominate.
All right, let's jump to another one. We've got a Turkish cup match, Fethiyaspor against the absolute powerhouse Galatasaray. And with this one, it's not just about the difference in leagues, it's about the mindset of a giant.
And look, another crazy high number, 92% confidence in a Galatasaray win. Now, even if they decide to rest a few of their big stars, the expectation isn't just that they'll win, it's that they'll win big. And the reason why is actually pretty interesting.
It all comes down to something called the rebound factor. See, Galatasaray just lost a big Super Cup match. And for a club that size, that's more than just a loss. It's a dent in their pride. So a game like this, against a smaller team, it's the perfect chance for them to come out angry, flex their muscles, and basically send a message.
But hang on. It's never that easy, is it? I mean, if football was always this predictable, we probably wouldn't love it so much. Even in these super lopsided games, there are always these wild cards, these great equalizers that can throw a wrench in the works and give the little guy a chance.
And here are the big ones analysts are always watching out for. A terrible pitch, for example, can just turn a game of skill into a total lottery. Same goes for extreme weather, like heavy rain or a frozen field. It just cancels out any technical advantage. And then you've got the human element, right? The giant resting too many of its star players, or a team like Scunthorpe getting a big lead early and just taking their foot off the gas. These are the things that can lead to a huge upset.
So let's bring it all together for the analyst's takeaway. After you weigh all these things, the professionalism gap, the momentum, the psychology, all those potential wildcards, how do you actually make sense of it all? Well,
You rank the games. You rank them by how certain the outcome seems.
So here's how it shakes out. Scunthorpe tops the list. Why? Because that physical professional gap is just too huge to ignore. Galatasaray comes in at number 2, mostly because of that powerful rebound factor we talked about. Then you've got Al-Ittihad at 3, riding that insane wave of momentum. And finally, Halifax makes the list. Another clear case of a pro team versus a semi-pro team. See? Each one has a single, powerful reason it's on the list. So, what's the most important thing to remember from all this? Look, it's not really about being able to predict one single game. The real skill is learning to see the pattern. It's about spotting this giant versus minnow theme when it pops up and understanding all the ingredients that make it happen over and over again.
And I guess that brings us to the big fundamental question in sports, doesn't it? All this analysis, all this data, it gives us an incredible edge, for sure. It helps us understand what's likely to happen. But can it ever truly conquer the beautiful chaos of the game? Can it account for that one moment of magic or that bizarre stroke of luck that makes us all keep watching? That's something to chew on.